Hello and welcome to our Hot Stove edition of Pro Baseball World Tour here on RGC Multimedia. Rick Crabb on the line, and on the line with me, of course, our Florida correspondent, Mr. Eric Marenbach. Eric, how was your weekend despite the Devil winning the Super Bowl this past weekend? How was it other than that?
The Devil. That dude. There was so much going on in that game. Anywhere from the national anthem being botched by somebody hot to Patrick Mahomes pretty much laying an egg on a gimpy toe. But at least they showed his wife a couple of times, so who cares?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, you left out the equipment managers for both teams supplying the headgear for the dance crew at halftime, but yeah. That was
Actually, the best part of it was probably the guy that ran on the field late in the game.
I didn't see that. I heard about that afterwards, though. There was a streaker running on the field?
Yeah, well, at first he didn't streak. At first he just ran on the field. What they didn't show on TV, which they never do, when a guy runs out on the field, because it creates a negative atmosphere for the television audience.
Right.
But there's a video that's circulating that not only did he manage to make it to the goal line, which is a far cry from what the Chiefs did not do, but one of the security guys actually made a nice tackle on him.
Oh, nice, okay.
He blew off a couple of guys. One of the heads of security just laid him out Trump Pierce. They end up.
Yeah, that reminds me. I didn't go to this game. I saw highlights of it, but my father actually went to this year in the mid-'70s. I guess 74. He was a Baltimore Colts season ticket holder. He went to the game where Mike Curtis laid this band out. They were playing Miami, and this idiot band just runs onto the field, grabs a football. Mike Curtis comes out and knocks him on his ass. And the guy got up. He was so drunk, he was laughing, and then he was wobbling a little bit. But, he thought it was funny. It was the 70s. He had long hair and sideburns. He looked like Meathead from All in the Family, but it was funny.
Yeah, that's all that.
Yeah. All right. Well, despite the tomfoolery in the National Football League, we still have baseball in other parts of the world that we'll talk about, and I'd definitely much rather talk about for sure. Start things off, looks like we have a new Serie Caribe champion, the Dominican Republic. So, what was your take on the championship with that, that series?
Well, you learned a bunch of things in that tournament. You learned that Colombia went completely winless, even though there were a couple of games where they pretty much had made it close anyway, but lost it late. So Colombians positively sucked. They should actually be replaced by one of the Nicaraguan teams or any of the other countries that managed to play somewhat of a full season. I'd even take Australia at this point.
Right.
Under normal circumstances.
Although, from what we mentioned last week, it seemed to be working out for a little bit anyway for Panama. So, I don't know, maybe Panama might have had a second team since they didn't really have a first team, I guess, to go there. I don't know. But.
And you know what? Panama almost made it again to the finals. They kept it really, really tight in the semifinals, and the Dominicans came on late and wound up sneaking past them. So between that victory and Puerto Rico actually getting a late walk-off win there to make it Dominican and Puerto Rico, and that final was dandy. Even though the Dominican won, it was absolutely wonderful to watch.
Now, I missed that matchup. I watched the night before with Mexico and Puerto Rico. That was a good, and it seemed like there was a lot of good pitching in that one, which is unusual in a lot of the international baseball that we've seen, especially lately, watching the Australians. My goodness, but no, I mean that was a good game to watch. But so what happened with? Obviously we know Dominican Republic won, but what happened with that? What made it such a good game?
Usually in the Caribbean World Series, you get really, really good pitching because it's not only late in the winter league season, but a lot of these guys, it's sort of like a preamble to spring training.
Mm-hmm.
So you're pretty much getting the best of the best. Not only that, but you've got some of these guys that were on the Dominican team,
right,
that are actually raring to go for their foreign leagues. Like, I'm pretty sure that with Alberto Bonilla, who played a huge part for the Rakuten Eagles, for the Rakuten Monkeys, rather.
Right.
It's really, really well for the Dominican Republic. So it was a nice little warm-up game there. So the series between the Latin teams, because of the guys that are scheduled to pitch either in the majors or in the foreign leagues, they wrapped it up pretty good.
Hmm.
So that's what it comes down to with any of these pitchers. It works out really, really well for them.
Right. And that doesn't surprise me too, Eric, because, I mean, I knows a lot of players that a lot of Dominican players that come up, not only do they have good pitchers, but usually bring with them solid defense. I mean, you've seen like guys like Alomar, and then, a lot of the Caribbean and other Caribbean countries, but especially Dominican Republic, especially coming into the major leagues. But it seems like usually it's not just all strikeouts. I mean, they have good infield behind them as well. So, that's good to see. It's probably...
And actually, when you think about it, the MVP of the entire series, former Met Juan Lagares, who basically was never known for his bat, he's more known for his glove.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know whether it was during the game or after the game where it was actually brought out that he signed a minor league deal with an invitation to spring training with the Anaheim Angels.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Push comes to shove, I don't think he's cracking that major league roster.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when you're probably going to be the 18th outfielder behind guys like the certain dude named Trout.
Right, yeah.
And you got Ohtani because I don't think he's going to pitch. I think he's going to either play the outfield or DH.
Mm-hmm.
So, Lagares, he may be like a late inning replacement for defense, but he's not going to crack that lineup.
Right. Well, I don't know. Maybe the Angels can use him for a bargaining chip if he's regarded highly as a prospect or something, and maybe get build another need for them. But I don't know.
I mean, he was basically playing with the Mets for years only because they were either so injured that he was forced into the lineup, or everybody else just thought.
Mm. With the Mets, it could be either way, yeah.
If you're Juan Lagares, you're praying for a miracle.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. So congratulations to the good people of the Dominican Republic for bringing home another Serie Caribe championship. We also had some action in the Australian Baseball League where they wrapped up their regular season and they finally put out their playoff format. Now, Eric, you and I spoke about this a little bit when we were talking finally about our favorite announced team, how they were describing the playoff bracket, but I have it right in front of me, and folks, I'm going to display it very shortly on the video itself so you can see how somewhat convoluted this is. It looks like they're going to have a playoff game at MIT Ballpark, which, if I'm not mistaken, is that where Adelaide plays, or is that where... I don't think that's where Melbourne plays. It's Adelaide.
No, that's Adelaide, yeah.
That is Adelaide, okay. In that game, they have Canberra taking on the Sydney Blue Sox, which we're airing the program, folks, on Monday, February the 8th at our time. Say about, it's about 7:15 p.m. on the U.S. East Coast, our time. But they will be starting Melbourne time at 7 p.m. on Tuesday the 9th. Okay, between Canberra and South Sydney. The winner of that game will go into the tournament. Now, the tournament is confusing as heck, so you can read it and you can see what it does. They have the semifinal, what they call semifinal 1, at 7 p.m. on Thursday the 11th, between the Melbourne Aces and the winner of the Canberra-Sydney game. Okay? They have semifinal number 2, also on Thursday, but at 1 p.m., between the Perth Heat and the Adelaide Giants. Now, what they have after that is they have what they call a qualifying final on Friday, which pits the winner of Melbourne in the playoff game against the winner of Perth and Adelaide. That makes sense, okay? But they also have another preliminary final on Saturday between the loser of the Melbourne play-in game and the Perth Adelaide. So you have the two winners and you have the two losers. But the winners of those two preliminary and the qualifying finals, they actually meet in the championship on Sunday, February 14th. The winner take all on Valentine's Day. So that's kind of weird how they have that set up. But I guess because of this year with the pandemic and everything, I guess they're trying to get teams more at bats and more chances. I don't know. This is my first year seeing the ABL, Eric. So you tell me if it's usually crazy like this or this is just a COVID era thing.
This is definitely a COVID thing because on normal situations, you get your top 4 teams in the playoffs, where when it's the 16 thing, and normally the playoffs are 2 out of 3.
Mm.
There's no play-in games. Don't forget, you're not playing this particular year based on winning percentage.
Right.
You're doing it based on wins pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
So the whole thing is I won't even say a little nuts. It's so nuts that I didn't even know what the heck, how the whole thing was going to transpire. I was kind of rooting for the Canberra Cavalry, and as you were saying at the beginning, you know why. Because of our boys over in Australia, Warwick and Press,
mm-hmm.
who are, as ridiculous as they are, one of the funnier broadcasting duos in any sort of sports.
Yeah, the only thing is, though, Eric, I'm wondering, though, who will be doing the announcing, because it seemed like the other games, it was always, even when they had, like, the bubble at Brisbane or Adelaide, it would be, like, the home team's announcers calling those games. Like, even if... Yeah.
So, unfortunately, I don't think you're going to have Coleman and Petty Bridge. You're going to have, I don't even know who it's going to be, but you can't even compare any guys humor-wise, story-wise with, R2.
If we were in Australia, Eric, I would actually pay those guys to, like, watch the game on TV and call the game for us. I'll pay them, pay them money and whatever their favorite beverage or food or whatever. Food and drink and a little money on the side, just so they can call the game for us. So just.
Well, I just thought of this as the two of us are talking. I really think that the two of us should get on the Twitter horn, because I think that's the only way to get in touch with these dudes and telling them that they should have their own little watch parties. We should do it.
That would be great. And if we can get them to, I guess they can get Major League games over there. Get them to call, like, I don't know, if they have, like, some really shitty game on ESPN with two teams. I mean, usually they have high-profile teams. They'll have the Yankees or the Dodgers or the Cardinals or Braves or whatever. But, I don't know, if they can get... But, like, if they somehow get stuck with a game, like, say, between, I don't know, like the Orioles and the Oakland A's or something, I don't know. I don't know. I'd love to have those guys call that stuff just to see how they would treat it. Like,
You gotta get crap matchups and then be like taking them, please.
Oh, yeah. I'll get them to go to, like, I don't know, their liquor store in Canberra and be like, all right, brother, I'll pay for your beer right now, man. Just put the cashier to the phone. I'll give you my credit card. Just get whatever you want. Call the game for us. I don't care, but nah. But
I'll pay for them right now.
yeah. But yeah. So basically, it looks like they have 5 out of the 6 teams that are actually playing this year. I mean, yeah, I think the only team that looks like they're eliminated. Let's see, how many do they have? They had 8 teams because 2 teams bowed out. So I know Brisbane's out. I don't know. Yeah.
It looks like Brisbane's out and Melbourne's out.
No, Melbourne's actually in the semifinal. I think
Okay, so,
yeah.
So wait, Melbourne gets a bye.
Mm-hmm.
In the first thing, and these 2 are play-in games. The ones today and tomorrow.
Well, there's one play-in game, and Melbourne gets the winner of the play-in game. The Canberra-Sydney is the play-in game for Tuesday.
Gotcha.
And then they have, like, the 2 semifinal games on Thursday, and then they have what they call the elimination final with the 2 losers of the Thursday games playing each other. And then Friday they have what's called the qualifying final of the, yeah, it's a mess.
How the MSBL works, which is really kind of funny.
What's that?
Right, so it's kind of like those tournaments that I was going to the last couple of weeks.
Oh, yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Bracket. You have to play like 16 games in a day in order to get from the loser's bracket to the final, and yeah.
Right. Yeah, but I mean, I saw on the website though, and folks, if you are listening in Australia, tickets are available in Melbourne. They're selling like packages. It's basically they made kind of like a playoffs, and even though it's not an actual series, we'll say the championship bubble for the ABL. So I mean, you can get tickets for Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. It looks like so if you choose to do so. Saturday and Sunday. Sunday's the championship, so it'll be Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So yeah.
I'm old vaccinated, so if I was able to fly, I'd do it. But
right.
I don't think I'd be both.
No. Yeah, it would be a good time, but thankfully technology is out there and YouTube is being cool, and they're not working with the AAA and blocking games out, so that's probably a good thing. But
and come to think of it, Apple still never gave me back my $14 refund from that 1 month of that American Association stuff.
Oh, no kidding.
So I think tomorrow I'm going to have to give them a little phone call.
There you go. All right. Well, Apple, you're on blast. Give Eric back his money, damn it. Come on. Do the right thing.
I mean, it's $12.95 plus tax or whatever the hell it was, but it would pay for like 8 season tickets for me.
All right, there you go.
Which that's a whole other thing. As you know, spring training's coming up in a couple of weeks. These teams now are looking to establish some sort of ticket sales to get some sort of revenue in. The only teams that have actually put tickets on sale to somewhat of a general public, and I use the term loosely, are the teams that occupy the ballpark of the Palm Beaches, the Nationals and Astros. They're doing just like they did in Texas during the NLCS and the World Series, where they're actually selling them in pods. They've actually limited the total capacity to 1,500, and they're doing pods of 2 and 4. Unless you can somehow scam a single from one game, which I actually did manage. How the hell I managed that one, I don't even remember. But so I picked up 11 games there. What I want to do, based on the schedule, is try and hit as many of the venues as I can. Now, what I found out today was that the entire schedule, in Florida anyway, may be revamped. Because what they're looking to do is trying to limit the travel.
Okay.
And there's always a few games in there where teams on the west coast of Florida have to come all the way east to play one of the teams in the, what I affectionately want to call the South Florida Five.
Gotcha.
Being the Nationals, Astros, Cardinals, Marlins, and Mets. So teams will come like once or twice in a given preseason. Even the Yankees are coming over to play the Astros for a night game. The Toronto Blue Jays are scheduled to come all the way east to play the Marlins for a home for a game in Jupiter, Florida. I've heard rumblings that they're trying to revamp that so that those teams don't have to care anymore. They're kind of safe on the travel because of possible COVID outbreaks.
Right.
That could happen. I don't blame them for doing it, but why set the schedule such? I mean, unfortunately, there's such an imbalance of teams because of the travel.
Right.
You've got 5 teams on the eastern end. You've got 9 teams on the western end. Well, technically 10, but 9 on the western end. And the lonely stepchild is the Detroit Tigers out in Lakeland, who are basically out in the middle of nowhere, but more towards the west than to the east.
Okay.
So there are clusters within Florida where you could basically play each other all the time, and then Detroit just winds up playing against anybody that'll take them, or the odd man out kind of thing.
Right. I wonder also too if they can do. I don't know if it would save or make things worse for COVID. Do like some split squats. I don't know what some of those.
Well, that's unfortunately what they do because of the fact that you've got 15 teams in each state. 15 in Florida, 15 in Arizona, you've automatically got a split squad game every day. And it's on a rotating basis. So the Marlins could play, let's say, half of their team would play the Cardinals, and half of their team would play either the Astros or Nationals.
Okay.
So it gets all goofy. I always hate split squads, especially if there's a player or two that you're trying to see and you wind up going to the wrong split squad game. And
right.
It just makes that's all.
Yeah, and then sometimes it's like they'll have half of their actual starters and mix it in with some of their minor leaguers, or sometimes they'll just send, like, their Double-A team to one game and their starters to another. Or, it's messed up.
Right.
Yeah.
And, in the case of, like, a Mets split squad, you always want to try and avoid the Tim Tebow cult factor.
Yeah. Right.
Because if Tebow is doing a road game, it's a bitch to get tickets because of the lousy ball player / inspirational, like, godlike figure.
True.
Who you just want to see and just, like, breathe the same air he does.
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, especially down there, because it's not just the fact that, people remember him in college. I mean, anywhere people have been trying to go to minor league games he's played in, but especially in Florida, where really the only success he's actually had was with the Florida Gators. So I'm imagining some of their fans are down there also, in the Tebow cluster, I guess, but...
Yeah, so it's a cult, which I always try to avoid like the plague.
Right.
But, if you get stuck in it, you get stuck in it. It is what it is.
True.
I'm just looking to hit as many games as possible and then go back up north and then see what happens, with the major league teams. And worst comes to worst, if they're not going to let people in right away, back to the kids' games again.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, that's always been a sports bucket list item of mine. I think pretty much just to say that I did it, going to spring training. I mean, I don't know, just want to see what it's like, and just, the fact that you have all the major league teams, you get to see their prospects. I mean, it's why we go to the minor league games to see the prospects and all, but I know it's kind of a different setting, and you're not scraping your windshield, or at least not as much as you would if you were to stay at their summertime homes, I guess. But
Right.
Yeah. Now let me ask you this, Eric. I had read also that now, have you heard anything new with the Cactus League? I had heard in Arizona they were trying to delay spring training a little bit, I think, again, because of COVID or whatever. Have you heard anything new about that?
I heard they were trying to push it off, but nothing's going to come of it, because if you're going to get it underway in Florida, you have to get it underway in Arizona, because otherwise it botches up the entire system. I mean, if you're going to get it done on one coast, you can't necessarily penalize the other coast,
right?
Just because it's not, And going back to football for a second, you would have figured that with the full contact of football, that would have been like a haven for any sort of virus. If you looked at the pregame show yesterday, the way that they ran their protocols, even with the cases that happened, you got to give them credit for managing to go through an entire season with playoffs and everything. They played their full time, and literally there was no damage done.
No, they were able to reschedule a lot of games, even when my Ravens tried to be the Corona fish of the NFL, as did the Tennessee Titans. And they had to reschedule their games a gazillion times. I mean, they still got them in, and they were still able to work with the broadcast partners and all of that. And then a lot of the players who did test positive, I mean, they haven't had any symptoms or any problems since. So that's good to see too. So
you had to reschedule, but you made it work through the whole thing.
Right.
So hopefully we can get it that way with baseball. But it's like I said, if you're going to get it started on one coast with the game, you've got to get it done on the other coast, because otherwise the teams in Arizona, the teams in Florida have a decisive advantage.
True. And that's one thing with sports, though. It seems like, I guess maybe because they're somewhat, I guess, like celebrities, for lack of a better term, and you hear about it more. You would think the least safe place to catch the coronavirus would be in these sports leagues, because you hear of all, like, I just read a thing today where several NHL games were canceled or postponed because of this. And you had the NBA, they had to cancel a few games last week because of that. And, well, it was because of something stupid, like one player's wife went to a New Year's Eve party and somehow she tested positive or whatever. And it's just dumb stuff like that. I mean, it's like some people were just kind of like selfish. It's like, look, I'm a grown man, I want to go out to eat or whatever. But it's like, no, you're jeopardizing your team and your league and your job, And just like anybody else at any other damn job, you don't do anything to threaten it, If what you're doing is going to threaten the company or production or whatever, you're going to get fired. I mean, that's not going to happen to them, but, they're still going to take some kind of action with it, though. But
and I don't know. I just want to get everything going again.
You and me both.
And you've actually got the Asian teams. They've already started their training camps. And over the weekend, there was actually an inter-squad game with the Fubon Guardians.
Oh, nice. Okay.
That I managed to watch. It was kind of cool seeing the so-called broadcasters were basically the on-field people.
Oh, okay.
The on-field cheerleaders and stuff like that.
Oh.
They were the announcers.
Oh, no kidding. Oh, gosh.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, and even though there was nobody at the game because they weren't letting anybody in, again, trying to save up for possible COVID cases, even though there's pretty much nothing in Taiwan, but better safe than sorry.
Right.
So they're not letting anybody into the preseason games or scrimmages or like that.
No.
But you've still got each player's cheer song playing in the background.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the players kind of need that to kind of keep them mentally straight or focused or whatever. I don't know. I mean, I don't play professionally, obviously, so maybe I would feel differently if I did. But I think in this country especially, the athletes, they make such a big deal about, well, there's no fans in the stands. Yeah, okay, well, but you're still getting paid and you're still on TV, so suck it up. It's like, if it's safe enough to play, unless it's threatening your life in any way, play. Shut up.
Right. That's how I roll. So you're getting these training camps that are ramping up in Korea, Japan, and Taiwan. You pretty much got all the international players signed, returning from the quarantines and stuff like that. So let's get ready to roll. I mean, I saw a thing on, I believe, the King Tigers YouTube page where returning pitcher Aaron Brooks, they must have had some sort of a charity thing that they did, I think right after the time where his family got into that car accident.
Okay.
They were taking in donations or whatever. They made wristbands for the charity that they're doing. So he bought about, I don't know, 500 wristbands, according, I think, from the video. And he was giving them out to all the players and coaches, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Kia, what they did, and I don't know whether this is traditional or what, they made little fruitcakes for the foreign players. So they had one for Aaron Brooks. They had one for former A's pitcher, KBO rookie Daniel Mengden. And I believe they had one for Tucker as well, kind of welcoming them back to Korea and hoping for a good season.
Oh, very nice. Well, that's awesome. Now, I mean, seems like the teams in the KBO are very welcoming to the foreign players coming in there, and that's good to see.
That's in Asia in general, though. I mean, they've actually posted the foreign players in the KBO and the CPBL for the year. Not such as the case with NPB. They haven't made a complete list yet, but I'm sure that'll happen in the next couple of weeks.
Right.
I just think it's weird how teams went from the KBO to the CPBL and vice versa, but yet somehow there was only one player in the case of Rojas that jumped from the KBO to NPB. So I don't know how the heck that's working.
Yeah, I don't know either. But now with NPB, are they starting a little later with them? Maybe it has to do with the quarantines and stuff like that. I know KBO already worked that out, and I imagine CPBL did as well. But
I know the camps are going underway. I got somebody I know that actually is a season ticket holder for the Bay Stars. So she said that camps are underway. They're not letting anybody in, quite yet to their spring training stuff. But everything seems to be status quo.
Right. Okay, well, definitely be looking forward to seeing those leagues get in the gear as well, and remains to see what'll happen with the major leagues. It sounds like they're trying to get it on time, and the players' unions don't want them to delay the starts. I think the owners were talking about maybe doing that, but I don't know. I just hope they don't get into another squabble like they did last year, Eric. That would just, I think that would just turn off a lot of people who are sports fans and maybe casual fans of baseball and might just turn them off of baseball for a little bit. I hope that doesn't happen, though.
Well, unfortunately for this year, though, you've got the current labor agreement in its last year. So if you, as an owner, try to pull what you did last year, you're gonna find that there's some serious problems in negotiating a new collective bargaining agreement. And I don't want to jinx it or anything, but you haven't had a work stoppage in baseball since 1994.
But there's precedent, but what you're saying, you're right. It's a pattern. It sounds like it could very well happen, though, if they don't come to an agreement on stuff.
These other leagues, these other professional leagues, every time a contract is up, there's always some sort of an interruption or shortening of a season.
Mm-hmm.
You haven't had that in MLB since '94. But you see this happening in the NBA constantly, even the NFL with their last collective bargaining agreement. I think the season got shortened. It happens every time in the NHL.
Right.
Baseball has had the distinction of, again, not having a work stoppage in almost 30 years. You're in danger of this now. Unfortunately, due to circumstances beyond your control, but
it is what it is, but it is definitely unfortunate timing because, there would be people, just about any of the professional sports right now, and then also other live entertainment such as in your hometown, with the Broadway theaters, that kind of thing. People would, as soon as there's an announcement, okay, we're selling tickets, they'll be the hottest ticket in town, whatever it is, and baseball screws that up. Oh my goodness. that's killing a golden goose almost. You know, it's just
right. I mean, you're just trying to get out. I mean, I know, you know, there are some people that are still trying to shelter themselves until they get vaccinated. But for the most part, people are, you know, it's kind of like a horse race where the horses are at the gate and they're waiting for the gate to open so they can start running out and completing their mile and an eighth or whatever.
right.
It's the same like with any other sports fans.
Sure. And there are some people who try to get out as much as they can. I mean, there are some people that are sheltered, as you said, but there are some, it's like, I know it's like, my part of Maryland, they just kind of like, raised the I don't know, the curfews a little bit. They're a little later back now. They were pushed back to 10 o'clock, and then some jurisdictions like Baltimore City closed them down altogether. But now they kind of opened them back up somewhat, and, you know, some people, they still wanted to go watch a game somewhere, or the gentleman I rent from, he is a big horse racing fan. He likes to go to casinos, and he'll go watch off-track betting. You know, he'll go to, like, casinos near here in Pennsylvania and Delaware and stuff, or even to Pimlico to watch off-track racing there. But, you know, it's, people want their sports. They want to get out. It can't just be work and home for some people. I mean, some people, that's all it is. Literally, they're working from home, and they're staying home and having their kids in the other room go to school, or, you know, through virtual classes and stuff like that. And, I mean, it's hard on everybody in a lot of different ways. So, you know, people need a break. We need a break, man.
Or people get complacent enough to just sit on their butts and, you know, watch what's going on TV or what's not going on.
Right.
And, you know, they're basically letting the virus consume their lives. You can't do that.
No.
That's why I was at the point where even if there was no major league games to go to, I'd be finding other stuff. Right. Because eventually got to the point where, okay, I'm going to be a little bit graphic here, but my hemorrhoids were acting up, so, you know, you needed to get off your ass every once in a while.
Yeah, I mean, you especially, you are, I would say, a hardcore baseball fan, where you could watch the Bad News Bears play another little league team, you know, if they had a game going on. And you just like baseball that much. I mean, I'm that way with watching other sports. I can sit and watch anybody play hockey, anybody play baseball. Just about anybody play football, although this weekend it was kind of tough. But you know, if you like a sport, it's like you just want to see, you know, just the teams on the court, on the pitch, in the rink, at the diamond, whatever, you know.
Right. That's why I'm going to, you know, I'm trying to find high school or college games or anything to go to until spring training starts, because especially now with the restrictions that we're dealing with, where, okay, camps are going to open up, they're going to start selling tickets eventually, but a lot of times guys like me will go just for some player interaction to, like, the workouts.
Right.
Face people on the field or BS with people, you know, get to know the new guys or get an autograph or two. With this year, they're not letting people into workouts.
They're not even letting media go into their workouts or to the locker rooms or anything now. So, I mean, yeah, it's...
Right, so everything, you know, is kind of closed mouth until the games actually start. So that's an additional 10 days to 2 weeks where you've got nothing on your plate. So that's why especially with me now, I try to find college game, some sort of high school game.
Right.
I've actually got, I think they just started this week. My buddy whose father was an ex-ball player with the Dodger organization, he's in his senior year at Vero Beach High School.
Oh, jeez.
So this is the preliminary week where, they play a whole bunch of teams just to get ready for the season.
Mm-hmm.
So I may start going to his games this week.
Okay. Well, that's one thing about where you are now and a lot of the southern states, for good or for bad, depending how you look at it. A lot of the southern states, they're a little more lax as far as letting people attend these events. I mean, we've seen a lot of college football games down in Florida. The Dallas Cowboys hosted the Rose Bowl because California wasn't allowing any teams, so they allowed the Rose Bowl to be at Jerry World, So, I mean, you're seeing that in Florida and Texas and some of the other southern states, so you at least have some options to do that if you choose to do so. But up north, I mean, depending on some cities, Maryland, they'll at least let sports teams play each other, just no fans. California, some parts of Northern California, they're not even allowing teams to play. I mean, the 49ers, they had to pack up and move to Arizona for the rest of their season, so.
Right. That's weather-related, too, I think. I don't know.
Well, it was, I think it was that particular county where the 49er stadium was. They were banning any contact sports at all. I mean, from NFL down to, I don't know, Pee Wee League. It's just Pop Warner, I guess, or, Little League or whatever for baseball. But, yeah, it's
very possible. But it's like I said, I'm remaining optimistic that the more people that actually get the shots in their arms now that they're becoming more and more available.
Mm.
You get the shots in your arms, you get a little bit of confidence, self-confidence built in them where you can actually feel safe enough in your own mind to venture out into the world. Go out, watch your games, just do it smartly.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, just because you get vaccinated doesn't mean you shouldn't go out to mask. I mean,
right.
Years ago, when I used to go to Taiwan, you'd see people, it wasn't widespread, but you'd see every once in a while somebody with a mask.
Oh, yeah.
And at the time, you took it for granted. You kind of made fun of it.
Yeah.
Self-consciously. Look at where we're at now.
Yeah.
Where basically everybody's under a mask mandate, and if you don't wear a mask, you're basically putting not only yourself in danger by saying that you're free, but you're putting the next person around you in danger too. So.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it may be self-propaganda, but with everything that's gone on, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Right. I don't know, it's like I went to a small gathering, a very small gathering. I can't emphasize it enough. With some friends who actually, most of the people at this party were hospital employees at Johns Hopkins. Had a couple of nurses there, had some radiologists and stuff, and asking each of them their opinion of it because they were getting both shots, and, they were basically saying, just be careful, be smart, because really, hospital-wise, government-wise, everybody really doesn't know what the heck is going on. They act like they want to, speak confidently as if they do, but really they don't. So they're basically saying, get the shots, do what you got to do to protect yourself, more or less. They're not going to say not to get the shot or anything like that. In fact, I even asked them, well, should I do it? Because my one buddy's wife, she had the shot and she had side effects. Their arm was like sore for a week or whatever, and I asked, well, should I even get it? They were like, yeah, definitely do it, so, but.
Would you rather have a sore arm, or would you rather be 6 feet under?
Yeah. Well, people who are against it are concerned that they may be 6 feet under from the virus itself. One thing that I was told, I was surprised at this. I kind of suspected it made sense. Basically, the vaccine is another strain of COVID, which I was surprised at that. I thought it was the opposite. But I know when you get a flu shot, it's a strain of the flu. When you get a snake bite, you get, snake venom to counteract that. So, but I guess they're doing the same thing with COVID now. But, my stance hasn't changed on it. I'm still getting it. I'll get 2, I'll get 3, I'll get however many,
Yeah, and even if you need a booster shot,
right? Yeah, yeah. I think the biggest problem really with it, Eric, is getting it because there is a demand, and they've had a few cases where some vaccines have gone to waste because of refrigeration issues, like with a refrigerator going bad, or like a refrigerant or heating and air conditioning problem. Not with the vaccines going bad because they weren't kept at the proper temperature. But if they can get that under control and they can get out more and more of these, hopefully we'll be okay. So.
Well, it's like these people in Florida, they're saying that the vaccine rollout is so wonderful. Oh. I call shenanigans on that one.
Right.
Because, the way that you're supposed to do things as far as order of who goes first.
I don't know, third base.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Or way you make an appointment. It's all BS. If you do things if you go to the right spot at the right time and you just happen to be in a spot where at the end of a given day these places have extra shots available because of the refrigeration process that they have to do because they're given X number of shots a day.
Right.
And people don't show up.
I've heard that too. That's a good point, yeah.
Why people wouldn't show up to get a vaccine is beyond me. But what these people do, if they are getting through on these websites and or phone numbers, or just showing up or getting their appointments through whoever, they're booking multiples. So these places are left over with extra staff at the end of the given day.
Right.
And if someone just happens to be in a spot that says, hey, we've got extra shots, do you want it? They don't even care how old you are. Okay? Yeah. You don't have to be 65. You don't have to, be in a nursing home or stuff like that. You could just shove yourself right into the front of the line and be lucky like I was and my folks were, even though they're of the age where you're supposed to be getting it.
Right.
The way things were set up, even with due diligence, you weren't getting through on a website or a phone call.
Right.
So this whole thing is screwed up. You got to be in the right place at the right time.
Okay. All right. Well, I went online and I signed up for a link. I'm waiting to find out when my appointment will be, but they're supposedly opening more places.
Unless you have definite appointment, you can register yourself on all these different sites. I've got a friend in New Jersey. Okay, I don't know what's been happening with her, but she registered on 10 different sites, and she hasn't heard back from any of them. Now, granted, okay, she's a lawyer.
Right.
So she's probably too busy as hell to follow up with every single one of them as far as getting through. Just because you register on site doesn't mean that they'll get back to you.
No.
So you just got to be lucky and pick a spot.
Yeah. That's what I'm hoping for. So But
I mean, in your case, I would actually hope for one of your Johns Hopkins people to maybe squeeze you in somewhere.
I talked to them about that. Yeah, I don't know. It's politics involved with that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's politics everywhere.
Right.
It's politics and a lot of luck.
Right.
But you got to be assertive as far as,
Well, I agree, but I'm saying I asked about that, and it's whether they want to be assertive because it's their job. That's another thing, too. So,
Right.
Yeah. But
If they want to put themselves out there and they want to stick a limb out, that's up to them.
Right. All right. Well, I don't know. On that note, you have anything else in the world of baseball we want to talk about? I know, like you said, everything's coming to a lull now with these leagues ending up and waiting for the summer leagues to start up and all that good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you're slowly but surely getting some free agent signings trickling in. Not too many trades involved. Anything major. I think, what was the signing I saw today? Jonathan Silfrey up with the Tigers 1 year, 4.5.
Okay.
I think that's what's going to wind up happening is you're going to have a lot of these pillow deals for 1 year or so.
Right.
Because, like I said up at the top, you don't know how negotiations are going to go for the next CBA.
True. So I guess the owners. I'm sorry.
He's just kind of taking things one step at a time.
Right. And I guess the owners are especially hesitant, I would imagine. But
right, they're trying to fill up their rosters, with either trying to be the most economical for all the money that they lost in the previous year, which that's always the prime excuse.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, folks, thank you once again for listening. Next week when we come back, we will have a champion of the ABL, and after that, it'll be Valentine's Day. So, for those of you who do choose to celebrate it, have a happy Valentine's Day weekend. Maybe, hopefully, you have a special someone in your life that likes Australian baseball. Maybe you can, instead of a Netflix and chill, you can have an ABL YouTube and chill. So might be a cheap date, and you just get a nice dinner to go along with it. Nice something to drink with the dinner, and who knows? So, well.
And we've also got Chinese New Year. It's the year of the ox.
Oh wow! No kidding.
So go out and celebrate on Friday.
There you go. Hey, maybe I don't know. Maybe go to like a Jamaican restaurant, get some oxtail soup to celebrate with it. I don't know. Yeah, I think it's I know what I forget which. I know that the Chinese the mythology they go in like 12-year cycles for like their horoscope. I think my sign's the monkey. I'm not sure what yours is. So I guess maybe I should get a Rocketon jersey to celebrate that when that comes. I don't know, but
I said I believe I'm a dragon.
You're a dragon. Okay, there you go. Well, they're in the CPBL too, so all right, cool deal.
Hey, this could work.
All right, very nice. All right, folks, thanks again. We'll talk to you next week.